report the chaos. We reveal the agenda.
Good evening and welcome to ATM. Tonight, we confront a stark reality, a parched, cracked Earth, a symbol often presented as a planet running irrevocably dry. This image, while powerful, tells only part of the story, a narrative of impending doom that we are constantly fed. This is the story of water we've been told for decades. A story of scarcity, of dwindling resources, of an inevitable future with less and less. But what if I told you that this pervasive story is not just incomplete, but fundamentally a lie? A dangerous mirage designed to obscure the real issues at play? The planet is not, in fact, running out of fresh water. The fundamental resource itself is abundant. What we are truly running out of, with alarming speed, is time to manage this vital resource wisely and equitably. Tonight, we begin our deep dive into the real water crisis, peeling back the layers of misconception to reveal the truth. The myth of scarcity is incredibly powerful, deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. But like all myths, it crumbles under the weight of verifiable facts and empirical data. Let's look at the numbers, the undeniable figures that paint a very different picture of our planet's water reserves. Indeed, only 3% of the Earth's total water is fresh. This figure, often cited to induce panic, can be misleading. That small percentage, when viewed in its entirety, represents a colossal amount of water. The vast majority of this fresh water, approximately 2/3, is currently locked away in glaciers and polar ice caps, a natural reservoir of immense scale. However, even with that significant portion frozen, what's left, flowing freely in our rivers, collecting in our lakes, and stored deep within underground aquifers, is still more than enough to sustain humanity's needs, both now and for the foreseeable future. The sheer volume is staggering, far exceeding what is required for basic survival and even for many industrial and agricultural uses. Therefore, the core problem isn't the absolute amount of fresh water available on Earth. Instead, it's a complex interplay of factors: the geographical location of these reserves, the quality of the water due to pollution, and most crucially, our collective management, or rather, mismanagement, of this invaluable resource. Water is abundant, but its distribution and accessibility are not. This brings us to a critical distinction, one that is often overlooked or intentionally blurred in public discourse: the fundamental difference between true water scarcity and the far more prevalent condition of water stress. Understanding this difference is paramount to addressing the crisis effectively. True scarcity means there is physically not enough water in a given region to meet basic demands, regardless of infrastructure or management. Think of an empty glass, completely devoid of liquid. This is a rare and extreme condition, often localized and temporary, not a global norm. In stark contrast, water stress, which currently affects billions of people across the globe, means that while water may be physically present, the demand for it consistently exceeds the available supply that can be reliably accessed and utilized. This is a problem of access and distribution, not absolute lack. To illustrate, think of a full glass of water, brimming with pristine liquid, representing abundant supply. But imagine you only have a tiny, bent, and severely clogged straw to drink from. The water is there, but your ability to access it is severely impaired, leading to a feeling of deprivation despite the abundance. This widespread water stress is not a natural phenomenon, but a man-made crisis caused by a destructive combination of factors: rapidly booming global populations, rampant pollution rendering existing water unusable, and the insatiable, often unsustainable, demands of modern industrial agriculture and heavy industry. These forces collectively strain our water systems to their breaking point. So, the fundamental truth is that we do have the water. The Earth's hydrological cycle continues to provide. The real issue is that we are placing an impossible and unsustainable burden on these water resources, often in the wrong geographical locations, without adequate planning, infrastructure, or foresight. It's a problem of human systems, not natural limits. This leads directly to the dangerous and profoundly misleading concept of peak water, the insidious idea that we have somehow reached a natural, immutable maximum limit of usable freshwater that the planet can provide. This narrative suggests an inherent, unavoidable ceiling to our water supply, implying that we are simply running out. It's a remarkably convenient narrative for those who benefit from the status quo. It effectively blames nature for a problem that is fundamentally human-made, suggesting that the crisis is an act of God, beyond our control or responsibility. But this is a dangerous distraction, diverting attention from the real culprits and solutions. The truth, when examined closely, is far more empowering and actionable. We haven't hit peak water in terms of absolute supply. What we have unequivocally hit is peak mismanagement, a point where our systems for governing and distributing water have become utterly unsustainable and ineffective. We have also hit peak inefficiency in how we use this precious resource. Furthermore, we have undeniably hit peak corporate and political irresponsibility, where short-term gains and vested interests consistently override long-term sustainability and equitable access. The water crisis, therefore, is not one of inherent supply. It is fundamentally and overwhelmingly one of governance, policy, and ethical leadership. And the real, often uncomfortable, reasons our rivers are dying, our aquifers are depleting, and communities are struggling for clean water are not found in the clouds or in natural cycles. They are deeply embedded within the very structure of our current economic system, which often prioritizes profit over planetary health and human well-being. To reiterate, the crisis we face is not a shortage of water itself. It is a profound failure of governance. It is a systemic issue rooted in how we manage, distribute, and value this essential element of life. This distinction is crucial for finding genuine solutions. The true causes of our dying rivers and depleted water sources are not mysterious natural phenomena. They are directly linked to the unsustainable practices and inherent inequalities fostered by our prevailing economic system. Until we address these systemic issues, the Mirage of Scarcity will continue to obscure the path to a water-secure future. We've seen how flawed economics are draining our planet. But when a river, a lifeline for millions, crosses a border, water transforms. It stops being a commodity and becomes a tool of power, a bargaining chip, and in the 21st century, a potential weapon of war. This is the geopolitics of the tap. More than 260 river basins are shared by 2 or more countries, making them potential flashpoints for conflict. Consider the Nile. For millennia, Egypt has seen the river as its birthright. But now Ethiopia, a rising power upstream, has built the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a colossal structure giving it control over the river's flow. For Ethiopia, it's a symbol of sovereignty and a source of vital electricity. For Egypt, it's an existential threat. Between India and Pakistan, while the Indus Waters Treaty has held for decades, the constant fear over upstream dam construction and water flow, especially as climate change impacts the shared glaciers, creates a permanent, dangerous undercurrent of tension between 2 nuclear-armed rivals. But the most tragic consequence of this crisis isn't fought in war rooms, it's seen in the faces of the displaced. As the water disappears, so does hope, and so do people. They become water refugees. Look at the Lake Chad Basin in Africa. Once a massive body of water supporting 30 million people, it has shrunk by 90%, leading to crop failure, famine, and conflict, fueling the rise of extremist groups. This is the brutal formula of the 21st century, where water levels fall, violence rises. These are not migrants in the traditional sense. They are survivors of a slow-motion catastrophe. And what happens when the nation with its hand on the top is a global superpower? In Asia, they call China the upstream superpower. Its territory is the source of rivers that are the lifeblood for over 1 billion people in downstream nations. On the Mekong River, China has built a cascade of massive hydropower dams. For Beijing, it's a source of clean energy and economic development. But for the farmers and fishermen in Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, it's a disaster. The dams allow China to control the water flow, trapping vital sediment and disrupting the natural flood cycles that have sustained the region for centuries. It's not an act of war, but it is an act of absolute life or death control. For decades, we believed we could engineer our way out of this crisis with bigger and bigger projects. In the final part, we'll reveal why most of those grand solutions have not only failed, but have often made the problem worse, and what might actually save us. Till now, we've established a crucial point. The world isn't actually running out of water in an absolute sense. However, despite this abundance, something is still terribly wrong with how we manage and distribute this vital resource, leading to widespread scarcity and conflict. To truly understand the root cause of this global water crisis, you don't necessarily need a hydrologist to study water flows or geological formations. Instead, you need an economist to analyze the system's value, pricing, and incentives that govern our interaction with water. So, let me pose a seemingly simple, yet profoundly complex question that gets to the heart of the matter. What is the actual price of a single glass of water? Consider its journey from source to tap and all the hidden costs involved. For the vast majority of us in developed nations, the direct cost we pay for a glass of water is almost negligible, often just a fraction of a cent. And this perception of water as nearly free is precisely the core of the problem we face globally. For centuries, human societies have largely treated water as an infinite, God-given resource, believing it to be too essential for life to be assigned a monetary value and too abundant in nature to ever be truly scarce. This fundamental misconception has deeply influenced our policies and behaviors. This single, catastrophic mistake, the failure to properly value water, has profoundly shaped our entire global economic system, leading to practices and policies that are unsustainable and increasingly detrimental to both the environment and human populations. Because water is artificially cheap, there is virtually no real financial incentive for industries, agriculture, or even individuals to conserve it, to invest in more efficient technologies, or to undertake the massive necessary repairs and upgrades to our crumbling water infrastructure. This lack of incentive perpetuates waste. The price you see on your monthly water bill rarely, if ever, reflects the true, comprehensive cost of extracting it from a rapidly depleting aquifer, purifying it to make it safe for consumption, and then delivering it through vast networks of pipes that are, in many major cities, well over a century old and prone to massive leaks. We have, in essence, constructed a global economy that operates on the false premise of endlessly cheap and abundant water. Now, after generations of this unsustainable model, the environmental and social bill for this oversight is finally, and dramatically, coming due. But the most shocking and insidious part of this unfolding story isn't just the widespread neglect of our water systems. It's the deeply perverse economic incentives, particularly within the agricultural sector, which alone consumes a staggering 70% of our global freshwater resources. I want to introduce you to a concept known as ghost water or virtual water. This refers to the immense volumes of water that are effectively exported from one region to another, not in liquid form, but embedded within the agricultural products and goods we cultivate and trade. This hidden trade in water, driven by distorted economic signals, has led to what can only be described as one of the most insane and environmentally illogical trade practices on Earth, with profound consequences for water-stressed regions. Consider this truly baffling scenario. Large agricultural corporations are actively using heavily subsidized water in the already arid American Southwest to cultivate incredibly water-intensive crops, such as alfalfa, which requires vast amounts of irrigation in a desert climate. They then proceed to ship that very same alfalfa, which embodies enormous quantities of precious water, halfway around the world across oceans to feed livestock, specifically cattle, in the equally parched deserts of the Middle East, such as Saudi Arabia. We are, quite literally and absurdly, draining ancient, non-renewable aquifers in one desert region, like the American Southwest, to produce feed that enables the creation of milk and meat in another distant desert, such as Saudi Arabia. This is a direct transfer of water scarcity. It represents an economic system so fundamentally broken, so utterly detached from the undeniable realities of environmental science and resource availability, that it defies all rational logic and sustainable practice, creating artificial dependencies and exacerbating water stress globally. And this complex, global system of water mismanagement, with its hidden costs and perverse incentives, is connected directly to you, the individual consumer, in ways that are often invisible and deeply embedded in your daily life and consumption choices. Let's take a common example, your morning cup of coffee. To produce the coffee beans required for just one single cup of that invigorating beverage, it takes, on average, an astonishing 140 liters of water, from cultivation to processing and transportation. Or consider a simple cotton t-shirt, a staple in most wardrobes. The water footprint for producing just one of these garments is an astounding 2,700 liters, accounting for irrigation, dyeing, and manufacturing processes. And for a single kilogram of beef, a popular protein source, the water required throughout the animal's life cycle, primarily for growing its feed, exceeds a staggering 15,000 liters, making it one of the most water-intensive foods. These examples illustrate a critical point. Every single product we import, every item we consume, from our food to our clothing, carries with it a hidden water footprint, representing the total volume of fresh water used in its production. Our collective consumer demand, often unknowingly, directly fuels the draining of vital water resources, whether it's a major river in Pakistan, a critical aquifer in the American Midwest, or a shrinking lake in Africa. Our choices have global repercussions. Therefore, we are all, in a very real sense, unknowingly participating in this invisible, yet massive, global trade of water, where our consumption habits in one part of the world impact water availability and scarcity in another. We've thoroughly examined how economic principles, or rather the misapplication of them, are leading to the severe mismanagement of our planet's most precious resource, water. But what are the consequences when this mismanagement transcends national boundaries and affects shared resources? What happens, for instance, when a river that serves as an essential lifeline, providing water for drinking, agriculture, and industry for one country, is deliberately or inadvertently choked off, diverted, or severely depleted by upstream activities in another nation? In such dire circumstances, the struggle for water ceases to be merely an economic challenge or an environmental concern. It rapidly escalates, transforming into a geopolitical flashpoint, where the fight for this fundamental resource starts becoming a precursor to, or even a direct cause of, armed conflict and war. We've seen how flawed economics are draining our planet. But when a river, a lifeline for millions, crosses a border, water transforms. It stops being a commodity and becomes a tool of power, a bargaining chip, and in the 21st century, a potential weapon of war. This is the geopolitics of the tap. More than 260 river basins are shared by 2 or more countries, making them potential flashpoints for conflict. Consider the Nile. For millennia, Egypt has seen the river as its birthright. But now Ethiopia, a rising power upstream, has built the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a colossal structure giving it control over the river's flow. For Ethiopia, it's a symbol of sovereignty and a source of vital electricity. For Egypt, it's an existential threat. Between India and Pakistan, while the Indus Waters Treaty has held for decades, the constant fear over upstream dam construction and water flow, especially as climate change impacts the shared glaciers, creates a permanent, dangerous undercurrent of tension between 2 nuclear-armed rivals. But the most tragic consequence of this crisis isn't fought in war rooms, it's seen in the faces of the displaced. As the water disappears, so does hope, and so do people. They become water refugees. Look at the Lake Chad Basin in Africa. Once a massive body of water supporting 30 million people, it has shrunk by 90%, leading to crop failure, famine, and conflict, fueling the rise of extremist groups. This is the brutal formula of the 21st century. Where water levels fall, violence rises. These are not migrants in the traditional sense. They are survivors of a slow-motion catastrophe. And what happens when the nation with its hand on the top is a global superpower? In Asia, they call China the upstream superpower. Its territory is the source of rivers that are the lifeblood for over 1 billion people in downstream nations. On the Mekong River, China has built a cascade of massive hydropower dams. For Beijing, it's a source of clean energy and economic development. But for the farmers and fishermen in Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, it's a disaster. The dams allow China to control the water flow, trapping vital sediment and disrupting the natural flood cycles that have sustained the region for centuries. It's not an act of war, but it is an act of absolute life or death control. For decades, we believed we could engineer our way out of this crisis with bigger and bigger projects. In the final part, we'll reveal why most of those grand solutions have not only failed, but have often made the problem worse, and what might actually save us. For a century, we believed in a simple solution to our water woes: brute force. We would tame the rivers, conquer the deserts, and bend nature to our will with concrete and steel. This approach, born from an era of boundless optimism and technological prowess, promised to unlock unprecedented prosperity and agricultural abundance. Grand projects like the Hoover Dam and the Tarbella Dam stood as monumental testaments to humanity's perceived ability to dominate natural forces, transforming landscapes and supporting burgeoning populations. The vision was clear: control the flow, control the future. This era saw the construction of colossal infrastructure designed to capture, divert, and distribute water across vast distances, fueling industrial growth and urban expansion. The sheer scale of these endeavors was awe-inspiring, reflecting a deep-seated conviction that engineering could overcome any environmental challenge. The belief was that by mastering the planet's hydrology, we could ensure a permanent supply of this vital resource, regardless of natural limitations or ecological consequences. This was the prevailing paradigm, a testament to human ingenuity and ambition, shaping policies and investments for generations. This was the dream of the 20th century, a promise of permanent abundance, a vision of endless growth fueled by engineered water. It was a beautiful dream, painted with the brushstrokes of progress and prosperity. Yet, beneath its gleaming surface, this dream harbored fundamental flaws, rooted in an incomplete understanding of ecological systems and long-term sustainability. And it was wrong. The initial triumphs of these massive projects masked the accumulating environmental and social costs that would only become apparent decades later. The very foundations of this dream, built on the premise of infinite control over nature, began to crack under the weight of unforeseen consequences, revealing a stark reality far removed from the promised utopia. The illusion of permanent abundance slowly gave way to the harsh truth of ecological imbalance and resource depletion, signaling the end of an era defined by unchecked ambition and a disregard for natural limits. The dream, once so vibrant and compelling, ultimately proved to be unsustainable, leading to a reevaluation of our relationship with water and the environment. Our grand engineering solutions, while initially celebrated, came with a hidden, devastating price tag that we are only now fully comprehending. We built over 50,000 large dams worldwide, fundamentally rearranging the planet's natural hydrology and, in the process, displacing an estimated 80 million people from their ancestral lands, severing their ties to generations of cultural heritage and traditional livelihoods. These massive interventions disrupted river ecosystems, altered sediment flows, and blocked fish migration routes, leading to widespread ecological degradation. A stark example of this ecological devastation is the Aral Sea, once the fourth largest lake in the world, which was systematically destroyed by Soviet-era river diversions for ambitious, yet ultimately unsustainable, cotton farming projects. What remains today is a vast, toxic desert, littered with the rusting hulks of abandoned fishing vessels, a haunting monument to human hubris and environmental mismanagement. The once thriving fishing communities that depended on the Aral Sea were decimated, their livelihoods erased, and their homes rendered uninhabitable. This tragic transformation serves as a powerful cautionary tale, illustrating the profound and often irreversible consequences of large-scale water engineering projects that fail to account for the intricate balance of natural systems and the long-term well-being of both ecosystems and human populations. The environmental and social costs continue to mount, demanding a fundamental rethinking of our approach to water resource management. And what of desalination, often touted as the ultimate promise of infinite water from the sea, a seemingly miraculous solution to global water scarcity? While it offers a lifeline in arid regions, it is primarily a rich country's solution, requiring immense amounts of energy, often derived from fossil fuels, thereby contributing to climate change, to convert salt water into potable water. This energy-intensive process not only dries up operational costs, but also leaves a significant carbon footprint. Furthermore, a critical and often overlooked byproduct of desalination is the creation of a highly concentrated, super salty brine. This toxic effluent, laden with chemicals used in the desalination process, is typically pumped back into the ocean, where it forms dense plumes that sink to the seabed. These plumes create localized dead zones, poisoning marine ecosystems, destroying delicate habitats like coral reefs and seagrass beds, and severely impacting marine life. The increased salinity and chemical load can disrupt the reproductive cycles of fish, invertebrates, and other organisms, leading to a decline in biodiversity and the collapse of local fisheries. Thus, for every liter of fresh water produced through desalination, we inadvertently create a new, complex environmental problem, shifting the burden from water scarcity to marine pollution and ecological damage. The promise of infinite water comes at a steep and often hidden ecological price, challenging the notion of desalination as a truly sustainable long-term solution without significant advancements in energy efficiency and brine management. For every liter of fresh water we painstakingly produce through these conventional, energy-intensive methods, we often create a new, equally pressing environmental problem. This cycle of problem-solving that generates new challenges highlights the unsustainable nature of our current approaches. The very act of securing one resource often leads to the degradation of another, demonstrating a fundamental imbalance in our engineering philosophy. This trade-off, where the solution to one crisis inadvertently fuels another, underscores the urgent need for a more holistic and integrated approach to water management that considers the entire ecological footprint. The continuous generation of toxic byproducts and the reliance on non-renewable energy sources reveal a system that is not truly sustainable in the long run. Demanding innovative solutions that break this cycle of unintended consequences and foster genuine environmental stewardship. But as the era of brute force engineering, with its inherent limitations and devastating environmental costs, increasingly reveals its unsustainability of a new and transformative era of smart, efficient, and truly sustainable water management is dawning. This paradigm shift moves beyond simply controlling water to understanding and working with natural systems, embracing innovation and fostering resilience. It represents a fundamental reorientation of our relationship with water, recognizing its finite nature and the intricate ecological web it supports. This emerging era is characterized by a commitment to technological advancement, ecological restoration, and community empowerment, aiming to create water solutions that are not only effective, but also environmentally benign and socially equitable. It's a future where water is managed with precision, respect, and foresight, ensuring its availability for both current and future generations while preserving the health of our planet. This new approach promises a more harmonious coexistence with nature, moving away from domination towards collaboration and stewardship. The revolution in sustainable water management begins precisely where we use the most water, our farms. Agriculture accounts for approximately 70% of global freshwater withdrawals, making it the most critical sector for implementing water-saving innovations. Instead of the traditional, often wasteful practice of flooding entire fields, which leads to significant evaporation and runoff, Advanced drip irrigation systems, pioneered and perfected in the arid deserts of Israel, deliver water directly and precisely to the roots of individual plants. This targeted delivery minimizes water loss, ensuring that every drop is utilized efficiently by the crop. By adopting these sophisticated techniques, farmers can cut water use by an astonishing amount, often up to 70%, while simultaneously improving crop yields and reducing nutrient leaching. This shift from broad, inefficient irrigation to precise, localized application represents a monumental leap forward in agricultural sustainability, transforming arid landscapes into productive farmlands with minimal environmental impact. The success of drip irrigation in challenging environments like the Negev Desert demonstrates its potential to revolutionize food production globally, making agriculture far more resilient to drought and water scarcity. This technology not only conserves precious water resources, but also optimizes nutrient delivery, leading to healthier plants and more abundant harvests, proving that efficiency and productivity can go hand in hand. The integration of technology and scientific research is further revolutionizing agricultural water management. Modern farmers are now empowered with sophisticated tools, such as tablets and smart sensors, to monitor soil moisture levels in real time and precisely control water flow to their crops. This data-driven approach allows for dynamic adjustments to irrigation schedules, ensuring that plants receive exactly the right amount of water at the optimal time, preventing both overwatering and underwatering. Simultaneously, in cutting-edge laboratories, dedicated scientists are meticulously examining the DNA of various crops, working to identify and enhance genetic traits that confer drought resistance. Through advanced genetic engineering and selective breeding, they are developing new varieties of crops that can thrive with significantly less water, offering a long-term solution to water scarcity in agriculture. This dual approach, combining smart irrigation technology with the development of resilient crop varieties, represents a powerful synergy, maximizing water efficiency on the farm while building inherent resilience into our food systems. These innovations are not just about saving water, they are about securing global food supplies in the face of a changing climate and increasing water stress, ensuring that future generations have access to both food and water. Our cities, once conceived and designed as concrete jungles engineered primarily to shed water as rapidly as possible, channeling it away through storm drains and impervious surfaces, are now undergoing a profound transformation. They are learning to become sponges, actively absorbing, retaining, and utilizing rainwater rather than simply discarding it. This fundamental shift in urban planning and design recognizes the immense value of every drop of water, transforming what was once considered a nuisance into a precious resource. The goal is to mimic natural hydrological cycles within the urban environment, allowing rainwater to infiltrate the ground, replenish aquifers, and support urban greenery. This new approach integrates green infrastructure, permeable materials, and innovative water harvesting techniques to create more resilient, sustainable, and livable cities. By embracing this sponge-like functionality, urban areas can mitigate flooding, reduce the strain on conventional drainage systems, and create cooler, greener spaces that enhance biodiversity and human well-being. This evolution in urban design represents a critical step towards creating cities that are in harmony with their natural environment, rather than in opposition to it, fostering a more sustainable future for urban populations worldwide. A prime example of this innovative urban water management is China's ambitious Sponge City initiative, a nationwide program designed to transform urban areas into permeable landscapes capable of absorbing and retaining rainwater. This initiative employs a comprehensive suite of green infrastructure solutions, including the widespread implementation of green roofs, which absorb rainfall and reduce runoff, and permeable pavements, which allow water to seep into the ground rather than flow into storm drains. Beyond these visible elements, the Sponge City concept integrates sophisticated underground systems, such as infiltration trenches, rain gardens, and constructed wetlands, all designed to capture, filter, and store rainwater. This collected water is then used to replenish groundwater reserves, irrigate urban green spaces, and even supplement municipal water supplies. The goal is to manage urban stormwater more effectively, mitigate urban flooding, reduce the urban heat island effect, and improve water quality by naturally filtering pollutants. By reimagining urban infrastructure as a living, breathing system that interacts with water, China is demonstrating how cities can become vital components of the hydrological cycle, fostering ecological balance and enhancing urban resilience in the face of climate change and increasing urbanization. This holistic approach represents a significant departure from traditional gray infrastructure, offering a sustainable model for urban development globally. And in the highly urbanized island nation of Singapore, a global leader in water innovation, the Any Water program stands as a testament to what is possible when ingenuity meets necessity. This groundbreaking initiative takes treated used water, which would otherwise be discharged, and purifies it through an advanced, multi-stage membrane technology process. This rigorous purification involves microfiltration, reverse osmosis, and ultraviolet disinfection, effectively removing all impurities, bacteria, and viruses. The result is ultra-clean, high-grade reclaimed water that is so pure, it consistently surpasses the World Health Organization's drinking water standards. In fact, Any Water is demonstrably cleaner and purer than what comes out of most conventional taps globally, showcasing an unparalleled level of water treatment. This recycled water is primarily used for industrial purposes, particularly in wafer fabrication plants, and to top up Singapore's reservoirs, indirectly contributing to the nation's drinking water supply. The Any Water program has become a cornerstone of Singapore's water security strategy, significantly reducing its reliance on imported water and demonstrating a sustainable, closed-loop approach to urban water management. It exemplifies how technological prowess can transform wastewater into a valuable, pristine resource, ensuring a resilient water future for a densely populated city-state. Through this remarkable feat of engineering and scientific innovation, Singapore has, in essence, created water out of what was once considered waste, transforming it into a pristine and vital resource. This process is akin to conjuring water from thin air, demonstrating humanity's capacity to overcome resource limitations through ingenuity and advanced technology. The glass of pure water, a symbol of this achievement, represents not just a technological triumph, but a profound shift in our understanding of water's potential. It underscores the idea that with the right investment in research and development, and a commitment to sustainable practices, even the most challenging resource constraints can be addressed. This transformation of wastewater into a high-quality, potable resource challenges conventional notions of water scarcity and offers a powerful vision for a future where urban centers can achieve greater water independence and resilience. It is a testament to the power of human innovation to redefine what is possible in the realm of water management, turning a perceived liability into an invaluable asset for sustainable development. However, the most powerful and enduring solutions to our global water challenges are not solely technological. They are fundamentally human, rooted in community engagement, traditional knowledge, and collective action. While advanced technologies offer crucial tools, true sustainability and resilience emerge when these tools are integrated with the wisdom, participation, and empowerment of local populations. It is the human element, our capacity for collaboration, our respect for nature, and our commitment to stewardship that ultimately drives lasting change. These human-centric approaches recognize that water is not just a commodity, but a shared resource, deeply intertwined with cultural identity, livelihoods, and ecological health. By fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility at the local level, we unlock innovative, context-specific solutions that are both effective and equitable. This emphasis on human agency and community-led initiatives ensures that water management strategies are not only technically sound, but also socially just and culturally appropriate, leading to more robust and sustainable outcomes for all. Across diverse landscapes, from the rugged mountains of Pakistan to the vast plains of India, We are witnessing a powerful revival of ancient wisdom and traditional ecological practices, seamlessly integrated with modern understanding. In these regions, local communities are being empowered to take ownership of their own watersheds, moving away from top-down, centralized management to more localized, participatory approaches. This involves the collective effort to build small check dams, often using locally available materials and traditional construction techniques, which effectively capture and retain rainwater, allowing it to slowly infiltrate the ground and recharge depleted aquifers. These community-led initiatives also focus on restoring degraded local ecosystems, such as reforesting hillsides, rehabilitating wetlands, and implementing sustainable land management practices that reduce soil erosion and improve water retention. By working in harmony with nature, these communities are not only enhancing their water security, but also revitalizing their local environments, fostering biodiversity and building resilience against the impacts of climate change. This blend of ancestral knowledge and contemporary ecological science is proving to be incredibly effective, demonstrating that sustainable water management is often best achieved through the active participation and deep understanding of those who live closest to the land and depend most directly on its resources. These grassroots efforts are transforming landscapes and livelihoods, one community at a time. This era also marks the significant rise of citizen science, a powerful movement where ordinary people are actively engaged in scientific research and environmental monitoring, transforming them from passive recipients of policy into active agents of change. Through accessible and user-friendly tools, such as simple, portable kits for water quality testing, individuals and communities are now equipped to monitor their local water sources, collecting crucial data on parameters like pH, turbidity, and contaminant levels. This direct involvement empowers them with first-hand knowledge about the health of their rivers, lakes, and wells. More importantly, this data enables them to hold polluters accountable, providing concrete evidence of environmental degradation and advocating for stronger regulatory enforcement and sustainable practices. Concurrently, in urban and rural settings alike, families and community groups are taking proactive steps to enhance water resilience, such as installing rooftop rainwater harvesting systems. These systems capture and store rainwater for various uses, reducing reliance on municipal supplies and mitigating stormwater runoff. This widespread engagement in citizen science and community-led initiatives fosters a deeper connection to water resources, promotes environmental literacy, and builds a collective sense of responsibility, demonstrating that sustainable water management is a shared endeavor that benefits from the active participation of every individual. These grassroots efforts are not just about data collection, they're about empowering communities to protect their most vital resource and shape a healthier future. The water crisis, often framed as an inevitable consequence of scarcity, was never truly about a fundamental lack of water on our planet. Instead, it has always been, at its core, about choices, the choices we made in how we managed, distributed, and valued this essential resource. We engineered our way into this complex problem through an over-reliance on brute force engineering and the widespread application of concrete, prioritizing control and immediate gain over long-term ecological balance and social equity. However, just as we engineered our way into this predicament, we can now lead our way out, not with more of the same, but with a renewed commitment to data-driven decision-making, ancient wisdom, and a newfound respect for our planet's most precious and finite resource. This shift requires a fundamental reevaluation of our values, moving away from exploitation towards stewardship, and embracing a holistic understanding of water's role in sustaining all life. The path forward demands a blend of technological innovation, ecological restoration, and community empowerment, guided by the understanding that water is a shared heritage, not merely a commodity. It is a call to action, urging us to make conscious, sustainable choices that will secure a water-rich future for generations to come, recognizing that our collective well-being is inextricably linked to the health of our water systems. The future of flow, therefore, is not found in the construction of ever larger dams or in the pursuit of energy-intensive, environmentally damaging solutions. Instead, it lies in making smarter, more informed, and more sustainable choices, implemented drop by precious drop, and crucially, achieved together through collective action and shared responsibility. It is a future where every individual, every community, and every nation plays a vital role in conserving, managing, and cherishing water. This vision embraces a decentralized approach, combining cutting-edge technology with traditional ecological knowledge, fostering resilience at every level. It means investing in green infrastructure, promoting water-efficient practices in agriculture and industry, and empowering local communities to be stewards of their own water resources. It is a future built on collaboration, innovation, and a deep reverence for the natural world, ensuring that water remains a source of life and prosperity for all, rather than a cause of conflict or scarcity. This collective journey towards water security is a testament to our capacity for adaptation and our commitment to a sustainable planet where every drop counts and every choice matters.